This week, Donald Trump turned his attention and singled out Spain over the country's NATO spending commitments. Spain won't commit to increasing spending to 5% of GDP. In fact, it's barely at the previous level, 2%. Almost never makes it. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez says 2%, in his words, is sufficient, realistic and compatible with the welfare state. Donald Trump, the President of the United States, says Madrid's looking for a free ride.
Oh, I think Spain's terrible what they've done. No, I do. They're the only country that won't pay the full up. They want to stay at 2%. I think it's terrible. And, you know, they're doing very well. The economy is very well. And that economy could be blown right out of the water with something bad happening. You know, Spain is the only country that... Are you from Spain? Yeah. Good, congratulations. You're the only country that is not paying. I don't know what the problem is. I think it's too bad. So we'll make it up. You know what we're going to do? We're negotiating with Spain on a trade deal. We're going to make them pay twice as much.
Now, obviously, it's not clear how the US can put tariffs on Spain because trade is the purview of the European Union, and the EU negotiates on behalf of all members. And Spain's top exports include things like cars and car parts, pharmaceuticals, refined oils, and various meat pork products. The president could tariff Spanish specialties like Iberian ham, black olives. That's hardly going to make a massive difference to the trade imbalance. Carlos Cuerpo is the Spanish Economy Minister. He joins me now. Minister, thank you. You've almost had a mafioso warning. You have a very nice economy, sir. It would be a shame if something nasty happened to it. You're on notice.
Well, as President Trump said, actually Spain is outperforming its peers in terms of growth. We were the fastest growing major advanced economy last year in 2024, and that's also the case for 2025 as foreseen by the IMF or the OECD as well. But let me go back to NATO and the Spanish commitment, because I think it's an important element to really clarify. There are two elements in the discussion, if you allow me, Richard. So the first one is how to split the cost of refilling NATO capabilities. And on that front, Spain, of course, will pay its fair share. And then the second question is, by how much does each and every country want to spend in defense and security? What percentage of its GDP? So what Spain will do is, as we've been doing for the past few years, so it's actually make those things compatible, pay our fair share in terms of NATO capabilities, and at the same time defend our welfare state, and also continue with our investments that are actually fostering growth.
There is a problem with that strategy, sir, and it is this. First of all, there is the number of 2% that people sign on to. Now there is the new number of 5%, which people are the UK, except everybody's signing on to 2030 and beyond. You are equivocating. You are basically saying, well, we're not sure, 2%'s fine, and certainly not 5%. That is not what this is about at the moment.
Well, let me agree to disagree with you, Richard. So it's not that much about the 2 or the 5%. The way this is actually calculated in NATO is first you look at an update of threats that NATO allies will actually face over the course of the next 4 years. Then you look at what capabilities we have now to face those threats and what increase in capabilities we need to provide for so that we all can protect ourselves. And you divide that increase amongst member states, and each and every one has to pay its fair share. That's what we're saying. We will pay our fair share, and we translate that into the amount that it will provide for Spain in terms of percentage of GDP. It amounts to 2.1% of GDP. It could be another number. So it's not that we're looking for the 2%, it's that providing for our fair share will be lead towards that spending, 2.1% of GDP.
I guess we're talking about presentational issues here, and the fact is, the feeling is, you get a NATO summit and everybody comes along and says, yes, we're going to do it, 5% more. And you come along and say, well, not so fast. But are you worried that the president is going to target Spanish exports and the trade relationship?
Well, again, let me go back to what I just said. Spain will be a reliable partner within NATO, and we will pay our fair share. And then when it comes to trade, as you said yourself before, the current negotiations are between the EU, the European Union, and the United States, because We European Union countries are a customs union, and of course, as you know, the negotiating capabilities are within the European Commission.
The economy, you're right, is doing well, and we're about to enter the summer and the holiday. In fact, I'm going on holiday myself in Spain, and excellent holidays they are too. I'm just, the Spanish economy has recovered better than anybody expected or thought it would. What policy do you now need to put in place to ensure the sustainability of that growth?
That's a great question. Actually, now that we look at the Spanish figures, as you said, we've been outpacing our peers, and going forward what we look is at maintaining the balanced growth model that we have, because this ensures sustainability. We have a very competitive external sector, great figures in terms of labor and job creation, in terms of the labor market, and also we've been fiscally responsible. So this is a way for us to square the circle and ensure that with increases in productivity, this will lead the way towards being also maintaining this strong growth momentum going forward.
Minister, I'm grateful as always, so thank you for taking time tonight.
It's my pleasure.
Talk more. Always kind to have you on the programme. Thank you.